real life quirk is like a critical energy / willpower. When I say critical, that means like I have to be at like the absolute 1 HP, like really tired or really like effed up, like in the gym, and then I'm like, no, and I'll come back. Like that's something that's just me. That's like in my spirit. I think that's a quirk. And then my real life quirk, or my dream quirk would be. Do you guys know from Marvel Universe the character Longshot? Yes. Longshot's power is just stupid, crazy good luck. In the point where like you get into a fight and just not throw any punches, and the person will just like break themselves accidentally, like slip on a thing, and he's like, because he's just super lucky. I think that would be a fun power to have.
My real life quirk, I'd say, is probably I'm a really good finder.
True.
Like
finder of lost things?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Rico and Aaron's been a part of all that mess. Like, we've gone to a lot of escape rooms too, and like,
Well, like, where's the key?
Like,
where's the key? Where's the
in the
key?
middle of the room. I'm like, I found the things.
Like, where the hell is that?
I don't know what to do with the things, but I found them.
Very
now
good
what?
finder.
And I think something I might want to have would be like teleportation. I think it'd be really fun especially if I could like be able to control like the speed of it and like where it happens and everything. Like I could take a 15-minute teleportation in the sky over to China right now, and I could like be like, that's nice.
Where do you think you are when you're between the points that you're porting from and to?
Where do you what?
Like where do you go?
Where do you go? If it's a 15-minute,
when you nightcrawler
yeah,
bamf.
if it's a 15-minute
like,
teleportation, where are you in that 15
like,
minutes?
are you in another dimension or?
No, like I picture myself like being like in the air somewhere, you know?
So it's
Well,
like
you fly really fast.
Flight.
Yeah.
Wait, so is it flight or is it teleportation?
It's not flight.
Okay.
Because I don't want that.
It's
a brand new thing.
tele-flying. It's a new thing. It's somewhere. Yeah.
I want to be like, voop, 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 you know?
It's called Voop.
Okay.
It's called Voop. Zip lining, if you will.
That's the technical term.
Be confused with Zoop or Zip or Zap
Or Zop.
Can someone do that in the My Hero Academia announcer voice?
Do what?
Like, Sarah Wiedenheft, Zoop! She can almost teleport, but not really. But don't call it flight. She doesn't like that.
Sarah Wiedenheft. Her quirk is Zoop. It's not quite flight and not quite teleportation.
Sounds like when Pac-Man eats the big pellet.
Oh. I found a clock.
Oh, you found a clock?
yeah, she is a
good
clock
finder. She controls time.
That's where it went. You know when you don't know where a panel's gonna go?
That's right.
I don't know where this is going now. All right, do you have any questions right in the front here?
Okay, for any of you, is voicing anime like voicing a computer game, or are there big differences?
Anime like a computer game, or
Are there big differences?
I mean, they both involve talking, for sure. So in that respect, they're quite similar. But typically, at least in a lot of games that I've worked on, the animation aspects of it are what they call prelay, right? So you record the voice, you get to, perform however you'd like, and then they animate to that, right? Whereas when you dub in anime, you've got the mouth moving already before you start talking. So you've got to put your words inside that mouth.
Also, I tend to find that with video games or computer games, you have to come up with a lot more ways to die. Because usually in anime, you only die once, unless you're a zombie.
That's true.
But with video games, like I worked on a game called XCOM 2. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that one.
Oh, yeah. Brutal
But
game.
I voiced kind of a generic female soldier that you could bring with you on your missions. So it wasn't a named character, but because you could bring her anywhere with you, I literally had to vocalize every possible way to die in the game, which included being smushed by a rock, being eaten alive feet first by an alien, being shot, being, caught on fire. So, yeah,
Souped into a wall.
all of them. Yeah, so lots more dying.
I want to hear your own voices doing your own death. So like, what would be your death sound?
Oh, well, you gotta give us specificity. It's gotta be death by what?
Right.
Death by holding in your pee.
Oh, death by holding in pee. Oh.
See, I would never fall victim to that.
All right, death by pee, death by pee. All right, here, can you beat me in, Aaron? Can you beat me in?
Beep, beep, beep.
Oh no, it's happening! It's a I held it too long!
I'm holding it right now.
That's mine.
That's good. That's very good.
Okay.
I'm not even gonna. I think that for me.
One and done?
Yeah.
No way. We need 90 more takes. Now that's how it works. They're like, okay, good first one.
Elizabeth's
Give us an
going.
A through Z.
Yeah, you know what, man? We had the gain set at the wrong place. We fried that one. So could you do that again? Yeah.
We're rolling? Yeah, so anyway, that happens.
Go.
No, the pee is like
Drowning.
It filled her up.
drowning.
You said drowning. I popped. Yeah. Specificity is the key, my friends, to acting.
I regret asking that now. Right, let's get back on point. The difference between anime and kid voiceover.
You're directing us.
Does anybody have anything to add to the anime versus video game answer?
No, you guys covered that
I think
pretty
you
good.
covered it.
Actually.
That's pretty
I
much.
think we feel pretty covered. And that if you feel like we've answered your
I would've
question,
felt
sir,
that.
then we are willing to move along.
I'll ask one question myself, because a lot of people don't realise, and I don't know if this is the case for yous, but yous don't actually record all in the same room. You record at different points.
Yes.
And I've spoke to different voice actors, and some of the first time they've met each other is at comic conventions and things like this. Is this very similar for you guys as well?
Yeah,
Yes.
I just met Jason and Elizabeth on Thursday. So, and I mean, Jason and we are currently recording a show called After Loss where we play opposite each other, and I had never met him before. So that happens all the time because for anime dubbing, you generally record separately. Each actor records individually. So yeah, it happens all the time, and sometimes you'll run into someone in the hallway and be like, "Your voice sounds very familiar. I know your voice." And
Who are you?
Who are you? And then they tell you their name, and you're like, "Oh yes, of course."
I remember Aaron, like I didn't know him for the longest time, but I kept on getting in, or hearing his voice in all of the anime that I was in, and I was like, who the is this dude? And I finally, I meet him, he's a director of the Showman sample, and he starts talking, he's like, hey, I'm like, it was you! Finally, I found you.
You're a finder!
She's a finder! That's her quirk. Sarah Wiedenheft. Using her quirk. I think what's really interesting is recording first, because that's another thing about being in the booth is, you know, if Aaron records first, I'll have the benefit to go in and play off of him, like actors do, talking to each other. But when you go first, you're by yourself. You're in the vacuum of space, and your director has to paint this beautiful picture for you, and if you're lucky, you've worked with the people before, so you can kind of have a spirit of what they're going to bring to the character. But if you're in there by yourself, guys, you gotta... but that's all the director. Director sets the tone for you, so you can,
Sometimes I'll try to predict how someone might say something too.
Or it's all you.
Yeah, indeed.
It's like sometimes I try to predict what the other actor might, like how they might convey it in some way, and you can't always guess that, but I feel like if you know the actor enough, you might be like, they may go in this kind of a direction, or it might make sense for them to go in this direction, but I don't know. Hope it works out.
In Zombieland Saga, Sarah's one of the zombies, and I'm the manager.
Yeah.
And I just could predict, Sarah's gonna eat this stuff. So I would do things just to really dig at Sarah specifically, and she would just hit me back with a read. So sometimes it's very gratifying. That's when the XP comes into play in regards to the voiceover bit.
Awesome, right, any more questions? I'll go straight across here.
Hello.
Hello!
In your character voices, what is your character's favorite food?
In character voices, what's our character's favorite food?
Like my hero ones, or just any?
Oh yeah, can we choose our character?
Yep.
Okay.
Don't even
I
say
thought
it.
we were supposed to
Don't
be my
even,
hero.
No,
My
don't
hero
even.
character.
This is like an Easter egg for the people listening. So if you know our characters, you'll know what it's from.
Oh yeah, you should try and guess after we do it.
Wow, I love sushi!
Any guesses?
See what it's from. You know.
Everyone's just went.
Yeah, exactly. It's fine.
You're not going to say who it is?
Oh, it's from Nambaka. The character's name is Mitsuru. And man, all right, fine, we'll say what it's from.
All right. I love Boy Scout cookies.
It's got an eyebrow cock. I don't know what it's from, but I like it.
Midnight from My Hero.
I just was so lost in the sound.
He's thinking about the cookies.
He's thinking about cookies.
I really like crumpets.
You're adorable. That's
Butler.
Billy, that's right, you got it.
They got it down here. Take a bow, stand up, take a bow, you got it right.
Nice.
The fact that anyone will do anything you tell them on a microphone, it's great. Any other voices?
I mean, I think ramen noodles are pretty good.
What's your guess? Go on, you can say it.
Is it gnocchi sauce?
Yes.
You're not standing up and bowing again.
Icy Hot's really killing it over there.
Me. What is that?
I think everyone's ears are bleeding a bit from that one, so you might need to...
That's from Borderlands 3.
Charmy from Black Clover.
Did you go, Aaron?
One more.
A lot of people think it's squid, but no, I have to eat that too much. French fries are pretty good. Yeah.
I'm so sad.
He's so withdrawn. Is that what you do in the booth? Do you actually just like...
Yeah, I just like... I kind of do this, I get a little fetal, and then I'm like, all right.
Get a little fetal.
Fetal position, and then I'm like, bring them like, I'm ready.
That's
He's
delightful.
like on top of the stool.
I love it.
When you're recording your voices, do you find you do a lot of physical acting as you're doing the voice as well?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. We
Sometimes-
pantomime like everything.
You try not to, I mean, but, you know, especially with reacts, you know, you got like a long sequence where you're fighting and running and stuff. I've definitely punched the microphone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It helps, like, especially, I don't know, if there's a fighting scene where, like, you get punched or something, to get that noise to come out, to kind of go, "Ugh," like, you have to pretend like you're getting punched. But you do have to be careful, because if you know, flail too much, you're going to hit something. And that makes a big thwack noise, which you can't have. You also have to be careful not to come into the booth wearing any clinky jewelry, because that will make noise as you move about.
If you're swinging, if you're going out swinging, just throwing like a bunch of punches and stuff like that, you can hit the mic and you can also pass out. For like a long fight scene, have you guys got that where you get lightheaded and you're like, one moment, hold please.
Yeah.
And your eyes just kind of dilate. All right, I'm
That's
back.
also
I'm here.
happened with an exceptionally long Dragon Ball style scream. Yeah. Like I have, you literally start getting the tunnel closing in, and then you're like, okay, before it fully closes, you gotta, okay, stop.
Yeah.
Also, quick funny story. So at Rooster Teeth, when you're recording for their shows, they actually have a video camera in the booth, and they record you while you're doing your lines, and then they hand that tape off to the animators. Bye, I like your hair.
Thanks for joining us. You know, there's only 15 minutes left, but it's fine. You do your own thing.
But yeah, they send your tape over to the animators, and a lot of times the animators try and incorporate your facial expressions and your movements into your character's animations. And in Ruby, I play a character named Winter Schnee, who is, oh, thank you. She's very like statuesque and controlled and military and kind of, you know, very ramrod straight. But I personally, when I am in the booth, am extremely like all over the place with my, you know, hands and my face and stuff. And I ran into a girl at a party named Harley, and it turns out that she was one of the main animators for Winter in Ruby. She was like, "Oh my gosh, you did such a good job. We couldn't use any of your tape, but you did so good." I was like,
Windmilling your arms the whole time.
That's funny. You find yourself like sometimes like doing the gestures that some of your characters will do. So I find myself going like, so yeah, you know, like I'm like. hoping the director isn't really watching me.
I want a secret camera in these recording booths now. Wouldn't that be great behind the scenes, just watching them doing it? Yeah, you've got one fan, at least one viewer.
So the two of you could watch that together, you know?
Yeah. We'll put it on the big screen, we'll have a live feed. Next Comic-Con, live feed, we'll watch it, it'll be great. Right, any more questions while we're around? Oh, we'll jump straight down here.
Hi there.
Hello.
Hey.
So I was wondering, how hard is it to get into the voice acting industry? In your opinion, basically, or just for you, in your experience?
Sorry, I didn't catch the last bit.
How hard is it to get the voice acting industry, ellipsis?
From your experience.
In our experience.
Okay.
Got it. Thank you.
So I think my experience is probably different than all of yours because I started when I was only 10 years old. So I think getting in I got into acting professionally as a 10-year-old, not voicing anime. I should clarify that. And so I got in that way as a child actor, I guess you could say, doing acting jobs on camera as well as voiceover. And because I had already been doing acting and I was represented by a talent agency, I lived in Dallas, Texas. My talent agency was able to set up an audition for me at Funimation, I think when I was 17 years old. Yeah, so I was under 18. My mom had to sign the contract for me. Yeah, so that was my story, but...
Oh, I'm right behind me. Sorry, child. Mine was just going to acting school. Kind of super boring, but also exciting. I didn't intend to get into voice acting. I just wanted to be an actor and hopefully get paid somehow to be an actor. Very humble. Oh, is this Inception, Rico, picture you're taking? Hang on, let me get that. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Oh, here we go. Okay, anyway, yeah, so just going to school for acting, doing theater, Shakespeare and all that jazz. I went and I did a film with my friend Brina Palencia, and we had shot for 16 hours, and really tired. I started playing guitar kind of sheepishly because we couldn't go to sleep because it was such a long day. She's like, oh, you sing. Do you want to come audition at a studio I work at? It's called Funimation. I was like, what's Funimation? But that right there was sort of like anything with acting for me, it's just being sensitive to the work that's around. And my goal has always been just to be, to act and continue acting. So voice acting sort of is its own thing, I know, but it came by virtue of just wanting to continue to act. So it's hard to say that I didn't target voice acting specifically, but now how lovely to be in front of all you guys. It's kind of strange actually to be like, kid, 15-year-old Rico be like, no way, really? That's awesome.
They're here for everyone else. You were just a bonus, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I was in a lot of things like show choir, theater, musicals when I was in middle school, high school, and all up through college. And I just happened to move down to Texas in the Dallas-Fort Worth area where Funimation was, and I heard that they had open auditions, and so I signed up for that. And that's they liked me enough to keep me in a few anime. So that's basically how I did that. That's a short, sweet story of that. I just do whatever.
It's a really good story.
Yeah.
That's a nice story.
Yeah, I like doing fun things.
Yeah,
that sounded like
tell.
fun.
I like that about you.
I mean, I think that in some ways it's very hard for some people, at least it was for me, in the sense of like the preparation for it. I put a lot of hours into like doing the research and putting together a demo reel and like all the training and the acting classes. And then, I like politely emailed Funimation my demo reel for like 8 months straight before like I ever heard back from them. But then like once I did, I got the phone call like, hey, can you be here for an audition? And I jumped in my car straight away and drove 4 hours up to Dallas and did an audition. And then, as luck would have it, ended up booking my very first audition with them, which was Attack on Titan. So it's like, in some ways, it seems like it was super easy. I just auditioned once. But there's a lot of like prep work that goes into getting to the place where you can even audition.
Were you familiar with the medium beforehand? Did you know much anime? Like,
I watched anime all the time as like a kid and a teen.
Okay, yeah.
So I was very
same.
familiar with the medium, but not specifically with Attack on Titan.
Dig it.
Thank God, or I would have psyched myself out so bad.
You know, now that I'm jumping on top of this, we were talking about this, Lindsay, Aaron and I yesterday, how different it is doing voice acting versus being in theater, like on stage, and how a lot of people aren't prepared with how much you have to actually like project and overact in front of the booth. Like, whereas like on a stage you want to be as natural as possible. When you're in the booth, like you're like having to do extreme overacting, and it's like so weird, and it's so hard to get into that.
In my background being, my training has all been in acting for the camera, so you know, acting for films and that kind of thing. And generally, the acting style for that is very subdued, very natural, supposed to sound very conversational. So the most common direction I would get when I first started working at Funimation was like, okay, give us more energy, bigger, and I'm like, but
they're not all
are you
like
sure
that
it's
either.
not too over the top? And they're like, this is anime.
Like for instance in Afterlost, we're not acting.
That's true.
We're being very naturalistic,
subdued,
very subdued. Like it really depends on the project. It's not always like that.
You're totally right about that. And it is really nice when we do get to do shows like that where it has that more kind of subdued, natural feel to it. It's refreshing.
I agree. Can I throw a fun fact? I don't think anyone really knows this, but so when I went to graduate school at SMU, I had to teach acting for non-majors. And who was in my class? Who was I teaching? But Lindsay. She was in my class at graduate school. And I remember when she was doing a scene from, what is it, the David Auburn play that everyone does, Proof. She was doing a scene from Proof, and she started speaking. I was like, that girl has just a beautiful voice. Can you sound
Thank you, that's very nice.
Can you not have a, no really, it's just so like, you know, a bunch of non-major, non-actor folk just doing scene work, and then here comes child actor. Like, I didn't know anything about her, and she like starts speaking. I'm like, can you not sound so pretty? I remember that was like that's my horrible direction as like a first year grad student.
Is that really what you said to her? Did you
that is not what he said to me.
Yeah, it wasn't like that. Years later, I can't remember. It was so long ago. But anyway, yeah, fun fact. So, but that being said, all roads, right? Theater, film, all of it, like you kind of play to the medium a bit. So keep that in your brain.
Yeah, I kind of fell into it as well, but after I was also a child actor. I started working in plays and film when I was about 7 years old. And then in my early 20s, I guess, I was at a party at a bar and shut down the bar with this dude who happened to be a director for ADV Films, and he wasn't happy with one of his actors, one of his leads in a show called The Get Backers. And he said, hey, you got a nice voice, why don't you come in Monday and give this a shot and see if you can dub. And I did a whole day that day, and he put me in as the lead, and the rest is history.
Awesome.
Aaron?
I'll throw something in there. How I started isn't interesting. It was nepotism.
But you did start very young. Most of us don't play children when we're actually children. So that is interesting.
But instead, I just want to address, like, you know, you were asking about how to get into voice acting. There is, if you want to get into it as a hobbyist, I have recently learned, like, there's a pretty good scene/community of hobbyist voice actors that do, like, indie YouTube projects, indie video games, and that's something that you can do. You know, like, you probably don't want to move from London, England to Dallas, Texas in the hopes that you can start dubbing anime right off the bat. So maybe the thing to do from here is you can, like, get yourself a Scarlett Focusrite preamp that just hooks up into your laptop, you soundproof your closets, get a decent microphone, and then you can just start doing auditions for a surprising amount of projects that like actually have something to them. So that's an option for y'all.
Or you can just
really
be
good
a
advice.
Micah Solusad and fly halfway across the continent and...
You can,
that
is a very high-risk option.
They asked him to come in. They didn't realize he lived in Hawaii at the time. They did what they did with you, but he was in Hawaii, so he flew over, and then he got the part, and then he decided to move.
Wow. Well, so many roads.
Hey, I wanted to ask before we leave. You said you sent in your demo reel for 8 months. Did you send it multiple times? I've always wondered if this is like something I can do.
Yeah. So I call it my theory of polite persistence.
Polite persistence.
Every month I would resend my demo reel, but very like graciously, not in a like hire me sort of way, but in like a, hey, I just wanted to update you guys. I recently worked on this video game. you know, you can hear the clips at this YouTube link. I'm still really interested in working with you guys. Would love to audition whenever you have auditions you think I'd be right for. Attaching my demo reel for your consideration. Thanks so much.
That's so cool to know that's an option.
That's a nice letter.
Yeah, like I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, Aaron, you should get into voice acting.
I'm gonna start harassing.
You
some
do
people.
have a very unique voice.
Aaron's letter is going to be not as Harvey. That's the only part of your letter.
I think we
In
answered
caps.
it. I think we all answered it, I think.
I believe so. And the bad news
Great
is,
question.
guys,
Is that it?
No.
we are pretty much out of time, unfortunately.
How could this happen?
No!
We could have went on for much longer. Hasn't it been a great panel, first of all? Let's have a big round of applause. Now, everyone can find you at the sign-in booths for the rest of the weekend, today and
correct.
tomorrow. And obviously go over, say hi, get autographs, and I'm sure if they've got any more questions about voice acting and everything else that you've been in, I'm sure you'll quite happily answer them, or tell them to get lost either way. It's up to you. Is someone...
What's up?
Oh, hi.
Hello.
Very random.
That's it. That's hey.
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 Hey. Everybody say hey. Hey. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, let's end our panel there. Once again, let's hear from My Hero Academia panelists.
Thank you guys for coming.
Plus ultra. Plus ultra. Plus ultra.